Hey guys, Otaku here, back with another deck profile. So today is a different kind of deck profile, specifically because this is the exact deck profile I will be taking to the regional I'm going to this weekend, or the weekend after recording this video. I'm going to be going to the Greenville, South Carolina, WCQ, and I'm going to be running Branded Chimera. This is a deck that I realistically was sleeping on. I just didn't take it seriously, and then I went to the WCQ in Stone Mountain, and this deck just kind of popped off and kicked my ass on several occasions. So I decided to try it, and I really enjoy it. So without further ado, we're just going to jump right into it. So to start, this is a 43 card deck, and we're going to begin with, of course, the actual Chimera part of the deck. So we're going to be going 3 Gazelle, 2 Baphomet, 3 Mirror Sword Knight, 3 Cornfield Codal, and 2 Chimera Fusion. I know that these ratios are pretty standard, except for the Chimera Fusion. A lot of people are running they're running 3. I find this card to be a brick at times. Sometimes I just open it and I don't have a beast and or a fiend, and I'm just sitting there with the card just kind of staring me at the face, and I have no way of using it. But that being said, the card also recycles itself, so I just don't find the need for 3. And we, of course, have a bajillion other fusion spells in the deck. But yeah, that's really just it for the actual Chimera. Like I said, these ratios are pretty standard minus the Chimera Fusion. We do run 2 different engines in the deck. We, of course, run the Branded engine, so we run 3 Branded Fusion and 2 Fallen of Albaz. But we also run the Patchwork engine, so we have 2 Fright for Patchwork, 2 polymerizations, and 2 edge jump chains. Realistically, you could run a 3rd edge jump chain, but the deck is already pretty tight, especially with the fact that we're already at 43 cards. So realistically, you know, if you start with 2 chains, they can't search Patchwork, which is fine. Patchwork's dead at that point. But overall, realistically, that's all you need. The 3rd chain, I don't think, is going to make or break the deck by any means. We just mainly run chains, so that way we can search Poly. Poly, of course, being in the graveyard, makes Guardian Chimera untargetable. And also, it just gives us a little extra ability to fusion summon without having a fiend or a beast in our hand, which tends to be a restriction at times with the Chimera Fusion. And of course, Branded is just, you know, it's branded. You could cut to 2 Branded Fusions and 1 Albaz. I find the need to have that 3rd Branded Fusion and the 2nd Albaz. 9 times out of 10, I'm actually using Branded Fusion to bait out Ash Blossom so I can get the rest of the deck running, because most people will find this a bigger threat than the actual Chimera, which is a mistake on their part. And then we run a couple of like non-engine but very crucial monsters in the deck. We run 3 Kashtira Fenrir, just overall a really good card, dodged the ban list, and he just provides a bigger presence on the board. And of course, you know, you can summon him and search himself, so it's like you never actually lost a card in your hand. And I do run Hex Seal, the light Hex Seal Fusion. Now, by the time I get to the regional on Saturday, this will be swapped in for a Visago the Destroyer. So just keep that in mind, that I'm not actually going to be running this at the regional. I just don't currently have it at this time, but I will have it come the regional. For those who don't know, Visago the Destroyer is a dark fiend monster that can be used as a material by the name. So basically, you can use him as Dark Magician to summon Dragoon. Or you can use him as Chimera to summon out the Illusion Chimera monster. But also, because he's a Dark Fiend, he does allow you to go into some other stuff. If you don't have Gazelle or Baphomet in your hand, you can still use Chimera Fusion since he is a Fiend. As for the rest of the non-engine, we do run a lot of like hand traps or just overall like interactions as the game progresses. We run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 Crossout Designator, 2 Triple Tactics Talents, 2 Book of Moons, 2 Super Polys, and 3 Infinite Impermanences. Ash Blossom is, you know, just the best hand trap in the game, and basically we're kind of in a format where it's mainly board breakers instead of preventative play. However, Ash Blossom does hurt this deck a lot, and Ash Blossom keeps a lot of rogue decks in check. So at the regional, of course, you are going to be running into a lot of rogue decks, just people playing whatever they want. So this Ash Blossom keeps that in check. And because of that, a lot of other people are running Ash Blossom, so we do have Infinite Impermanence. But not Infinite Impermanence, Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator keeps us from just getting bitch slapped by certain interactions. Imperm is another card that can just really hurt this deck, so cross out the Imperm and the Ash Blossom, really good. I have at times in test play cross-outed somebody's Tactics. I've cross-outed their Book of Moon, because Book of Moon is just being thrown everywhere, and Tactics is just a genuinely broken card. I run 2 Super Poly. I found the third to be a bit of a brick, and 9 times out of 10 I was just drawing too many on opening hand. You can run the third. I just have been unlucky in my test play, but Super Poly just... It's really good against Unchained since it's not destroying, and you can just really break a lot of boards in general with this card. And of course we have Super Poly targets in the extra deck, so let's get on over to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we do run 2 Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, and 1 Chimera, the Illusion Beast. Honestly, you don't need the 3rd Phantom Beast, and you definitely don't need more than 1 of the Illusion Beast, because most of the time, if you have things go your way, you don't even need to see the 2nd one. But these cards are just really good because they're treated as Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field or in the graveyard, which when they're on the field, of course, makes Cornfield and Cornfield and Sword Knight live for their negation effects. And Chimera, of course, on end phase will rip a card from your opponent's hand. Illusion Beast is just your OTK. You use it to, you summon it, and you just basically beat the shit out of your opponent, because 3100 attack, hitting them several times, and it can't be destroyed by battle, is very powerful. So despite the fact that our branded engine is very small, we do have a lot of branded fusion cards. So we do run 2 Mirror Jades, 1 Rinbrum, 1 Albion, 1 Lubellion, and 1 Alba Lenatus. The Mirror Jade is essential because you can summon it out with Branded Fusion, but if you do manage to revive Albaz like you can with Rinbrum, you can go into another Mirror Jade if your first one is gone. Second Mirror Jade is mainly more for the grind game. Rinbrum, very powerful card. You can activate Branded Fusion, send Albaz and Gazelle to summon out Rinbrum, and at that point on resolution, you can activate Gazelle to get to Sword Knight and get to the rest of your illusion part of the deck. Rinbrum's also just really good because you can use him to negate and bounce. It's just a very strong card. Albion and Lubellion are kind of your bridges. You need Lubellion to get into Dragoon. Albion, of course, is there to just kind of bridge into some other stuff and just kind of create another body on the board. Alba Lenatus is mainly for D-Link. I can just normal summon Albaz and then take D-Link monsters to summon out this card. It's very powerful, and then of course, you know, it just, if I send it off Albaz, or if I send it off Mirror Jade's effect, I can search Poly or Branded Fusion on the end phase. Just a very strong card, like I said. Even despite the ban list hitting Magnema and Chaos Space, I do think I'm going to see some D-Link still. So like I said, I think Alba Lenatus will be really strong. I can just, again, normal summon Albaz. Do not do Albaz's effect because you don't actually need to fuse this card. You can just take Albaz and monsters from any monster zone to make this card. So, but also it kind of is a Super Poly target if they do try to see that coming. I can just Super Poly Albaz to make, and a bunch of dragons to make this card. So this could blow up in my face and never be used, but I think it's a good pick for sure. As for our Super Poly targets, we of course have the standard Garua, Mud Dragon, and Predaplant Drago's Tupelia. Garua and Mud Dragon are really good for archetypes that kind of just play the same shit. Garua is really good for Flu, so is also, yeah, Garua's good for Flu, Mud Dragon's kind of good for, like, Unchained and stuff like that, and then Draco's Tupelia is just kind of there because we do play fusion cards, so we can Super Poly our own fusion and steal one of their dark monsters, or, you know, we can use it for the mirror match. But overall, we could also be running, like, Dragon Knight Draco Akist for stuff like Manadium. I just don't think I'm going to see a lot of Manadium, personally. I could be wrong, and I will regret it, but I think we run enough hand traps to kind of deal with it before it can get to its end board. So, moving on to the final bit, we, of course, have the Guardian Chimera. A lot of people run 2. I only own 1, and it is that beautiful collector's rare. But I only own the 1. This card got really expensive, even in secret rares. And I just don't really find the need to have the second one. Usually if I'm summoning this card, I'm already in the lead, or I'm trying to keep a lead. I just don't think I need to have the second one. We, of course, have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, because we can make it off of Albaz and Versago the Destroyer. And Dragoon, all on his own, he's a bully. He provides a presence. And then Magnum the Reliever. This card's just really strong, because you can use it to either get more card advantage by sending your Super Polymerization, your Chimera Fusion, your Polymerization, your Branded Fusion, or I don't know, I think I mentioned one of those twice. Point of the matter is you have a lot of fusion cards and polymerization cards in the deck to be able to banish them for his pop effect or put them back in the deck for his draw effect. Just overall, very, very powerful card. But let's move on to the side deck. So for the side deck, in most videos I tell you that side decks don't really matter. It's all based on what you think you're going to see, and that is very true. But this side deck does matter for my specific case, because I'm preparing for decks that are going to either be countering me or just preparing for the matchups that I'm going to be faced against. So this side deck does matter for my specific case. So we're going to start, of course, with 2 Bestial Jerusalem. Now that Mag's gone, Jerusalem is kind of just the best one. Jerusalem was already pretty strong, but overall, I think Mag was already kind of falling out a little bit. So him getting put to 1 just kind of was nail in the coffin. Jerusalem's just really good for the Unchained matchup. The only exception is when they do Unchained Soul of Anguish to link away Jerusalem and Anguish to make Axis Code Talker, and then Jerusalem can't get his effect because you can't respond to Axis Code Talker on the resolution of the summon. But that's really it. Other than that, Jerusalem is just really powerful. You can use Jerusalem to prevent the Gimmick Puppet lock that inevitably most branded players are still playing. So that's just another thing that I might run into. 2 Droll and Lockbird. This is primarily for the crossout designator. Droll and Lockbird hurts this deck a lot. You do a lot of adding, and Droll and Lockbird, I think, is starting to fall out because he's not really doing anything to a lot of the top decks, not even Pearly. But I think a lot of people will still be siding Droll at this regional, and if that's the case, the moment they see I'm adding a bajillion cards to my hand, they're going to be siding him in. So I mainly will be siding him in so I can hit him with Crossout Designator. I do also run 2 Nibiru. There's a lot of summoning in this format. We have Unchained summoning a bajillion cards. We have Manium summoning a bajillion cards. Even this deck summons 1,000 monsters. Overall, Nibiru at the proper time will just make an opponent pass their turn. Very, very strong card. You can run the 3rd. I didn't have the room for the 3rd. I don't think I even need it. But also, if you have it in the deck, it's not entirely a brick. You can Branded Fusion this and Albaz to make Albion. There's a couple plays to make sure that Nibiru is not really a brick. And then we have King Tiger Wegu. This is for the Pearly matchup and possibly a Sprite matchup. Wegu, if you don't know, he is a level 4 beast, so he can be searched off of Big Winged Baphomet. And if he is summoned, or if he's face up on the field, any monster that is normal or special summoned with less than 1400 attack is immediately destroyed. Basically, you summon this, and if Pearly doesn't have Book of Eclipse or Book of Moon, they don't get to play. They don't really get to play. They could also imperm this. There's a couple ways to out this card. It's not like a guaranteed win against Pearly or Sprite, but they certainly will have to use a resource to be able to play, which overall is the name of the game. There's a couple ways to use this, or to summon this. You can fusion summon Chimera using this and Baphomet, and then you can, on your opponent's turn, use Chimera's graveyard effect to banish Chimera for cost, target Wegu, summon Wegu on your opponent's turn, and they just realistically don't get to play the game if things go correctly. We do have 2-dimensional barriers. This card can literally end a turn for certain decks. You play against Manium, you call Synchro, they don't get to play. You go against a fusion-based deck like Branded or Branded Chimera, call Fusion, they don't get to play. But I also will be siding this in against Unchained. Activate this, call Xyz, and yes, they still get their link summons, but I won't have to go around a DDD King Machinex or a DDD Wave King Caesar. So overall, just a really, it's going to help against the end boards for Unchained. By no means will it break them. They'll still get to play, but I won't have to play around certain interactions that could easily just stop my deck from playing. We, of course, have the best board breaker in the game, evenly matched. You just side this in, go second, call battle phase, and watch everything go to shit for your opponent. Of course, you lose your battle phase, but overall, making them start from turn 1, banish all their stuff face down is very much worth it. And then we have the back row hate Cosmic Cyclone. This deck has a lot of spells, so if my opponent on draw phase wants to activate Anti-Spell Fragrance, I will just chain 2 Cosmic Cyclone, get rid of the Anti-Spell Fragrance. This also can work against Lab. I think I'm going to see a lot of Lab. So, yeah, that is it for my Branded Chimera WCQ deck list. I'm hoping this will perform very well. I will, of course, update you guys on how that is going. I will be doing a vlog at the WCQ, so I will be doing a recap of every game and how things went and what I could have done better, for sure. But, yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you all for 1,500 subscribers, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!